Tuiles, Utah. It's a quiet, unassuming town, the kind of place where everyone knows their neighbors and nothing much ever happens. But in 2014, a discovery inside a dusty, forgotten garage would shatter that peace and expose a secret that had been buried for over a decade. It all started when a man named Paul Mathers passed away. He was 75, lived a quiet life, and had no known children. His wife, Jeanne Souron Mathers, had died a few years earlier. Now, as relatives began the grim task of clearing out his apartment, they stumbled upon something that made their blood run cold. Tucked away in a deep freezer in the garage, underneath frozen food, was a human body. The police were called immediately. The quiet town was suddenly swarming with investigators. Who was this person? And how did they end up frozen in a garage? The initial shock quickly turned to confusion. The body was that of an adult male. An autopsy was performed, and the medical examiner came back with a stunning revelation. The man hadn't just died, he'd been murdered. The cause of death was blunt force trauma, but the bigger shock was yet to come. This wasn't just any man. DNA tests confirmed the frozen body was Paul Mathers himself. The man they thought had just died of natural causes had actually been dead for 10 years. So if Paul Mathers was in the freezer, who was the man who had been living in his apartment, pretending to be him for the last decade? This is where the story takes an even darker turn. Investigators started digging into the life of Paul's wife, Jeanne. What they found was a life shrouded in secrets and addiction. Jeanne had struggled with prescription drug abuse for years. She was a master of deception, hiding the extent of her addiction from everyone, including her own family. As they pieced together the puzzle, a disturbing timeline emerged. They found a notarized letter, signed by Paul Mathers and dated December 2nd, 2008. The letter stated that his wife, Jeanne, was not responsible for his death. It was a bizarre, almost preemptive note. Investigators believe that around that time, Jeanne, in a state likely fueled by her addictions or a desperate argument, killed her husband. Then, in a calculated, chilling move, she placed his body in the freezer. Why? The motive was as cold as the crime itself, money. For the next 10 years, Jeanne collected Paul's Social Security and Veterans Affairs benefits.
Don't forget to follow Dark Tales 60 for more.